Rune 47 of the Kalevala. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Kalevala, compiled by Elias LÖNNROT, translated by John Martin Crawford. Rune 47. Louhi steals sun, moon, and fire. Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, touched again his magic harp strings, sang in miracles of concord, filled the north with joy and gladness. Melodies arose to heaven, song arose to Luna's chambers, echoed through the sun's bright windows, and the moon has left her station, drops and settles in the birch tree. And the sun comes from his castle, settles in the fir tree branches, comes to share the common pleasure, comes to listen to the singing, to the harp of Wainamoinen. Louhi, hostess of Pohjola, Northland's old and toothless wizard, makes the sun and moon her captives. In her arms she takes fair Luna from her cradle in the birch tree, calls the sun down from his station, from the fir tree's bending branches, carries them to upper Northland, to the darksome Sariola. Hides the moon no more to glimmer in a rock of many colors, hides the sun to shine no longer in the iron-banded mountain. Thereupon these words she utters: Moon of gold and sun of silver, hide your faces in the caverns of Pohjola's dismal mountain. Shine no more to gladden Northland, till I come to give ye freedom, drawn by coursers 9 in number, sable coursers of one mother. When the golden moon had vanished, and the silver sun had hidden in the iron-banded caverns, Louhi stole the fire from Northland, from the regions of Wainola, left the mansions cold and cheerless, and the cabins full of darkness. Night was king and reigned unbroken, darkness ruled in Ilmarinen, darkness in the home of Ukko. Hard to live without the moonlight, harder still without the sunshine. Ukko's life is dark and dismal when the sun and moon desert him. Ukko, first of all creators, lived in wonder at the darkness. Long reflected, well considered, why this miracle in heaven, what this accident in nature, to the moon upon her journey? Why the sun no more is shining, why has disappeared the moonlight? Then great Ukko walked the heavens to the border of the cloudlets, in his purple-colored vestments, in his silver-tinselled sandals, seeking for the golden moonlight, looking for the silver sunshine. Lightning Ukko struck in darkness from the edges of his fire sword, shot the flames in all directions from his blade of golden color, into heaven's upper spaces, into ether's starry pastures. When a little fire had kindled, Ukko hid it in the cloud space, in a box of gold and silver, in a case adorned with silver, gave it to the ether maidens, called a virgin then to rock it, that it might become a new moon, that a second sun might follow. On the long cloud rocked the virgin, on the blue edge of the ether, rocked the fire of the Creator in her copper-colored cradle, with her ribbons silver-studded. Lowly bend the bands of silver, loud the golden cradle echoes, and the clouds of Northland thunder, low descends the dome of heaven, at the rocking of the lightning, rocking of the fire of Ukko. Thus the flame was gently cradled by the Virgin of the ether. Long the fair and faithful maiden stroked the fire child with her fingers, tended it with care and pleasure, till in an unguarded moment it escaped the ether virgin, slipped the hands of her that nursed it. Quick the heavens are burst asunder, quick the vault of Ukko opens, downward drops the wayward fire child, downward quick the red ball rushes, shoots across the arc of heaven, hisses through the startled cloudlets, flashes through the troubled welkin, through 9 starry vaults of ether. Then the ancient Wainamoinen spake, and these the words he uttered: Blacksmith brother Ilmarinen, let us haste and look together, what the kind of fire that falleth, what the form of light that shineth, from the upper vault of heaven, from the lower earth and ocean. Has a second moon arisen? Can it be a ball of sunlight? Thereupon the heroes wandered, onward journeyed and reflected, how to gain the spot illumined, how to find the sacred fire child. Came a river rushing by them, broad and stately as an ocean. Straightway ancient Wainamoinen there began to build a vessel, build a boat to cross the river. With the aid of Ilmarinen, from the oak he cut the rowlocks, from the pine the oars he fashioned, from the aspen shapes the rudder. When the vessel they had finished, quick they rolled it to the current, hard they rowed and ever forward, on the Neva stream and waters, at the head of Neva river. Ilmatar, the ether daughter, foremost daughter of creation, came to meet them on their journey, thus addressed the coming strangers. Who are ye of Northland heroes, rowing on the Neva waters? Wainamoinen gave this answer. This the blacksmith Ilmarinen, I the ancient Wainamoinen. Tell us now thy name and station, whither going, whence thou comest, where thy tribe folk live and linger. Spake the daughter then of Ether. I the oldest of the women, am the first of Ether's daughters, am the first of ancient mothers. 7 times have I been wedded to the heroes of creation. Whither do ye strangers journey? Answered thus old Wainamoinen. Fire has left Wainala's hearthstones, light has disappeared from Northland. Have been sitting long in darkness, cold and darkness our companions. Now we journey to discover what the fire that fell from heaven, falling from the clouds' red lining, to the deeps of earth and ocean. Ilmatar returned this answer. Hard the flame is to discover, hard indeed to find the fire child. Has committed many mischiefs, nothing good has he accomplished. Quick the fireball fell from ether, from the red rims of the cloudlets, from the plains of the Creator, through the ever-moving heavens, through the purple ether spaces, through the blackened flues of Tori, to Palvoinen's room uncovered. When the fire had reached the chambers of Palvoinen, son of evil, he began his wicked workings, he engaged in lawless actions, raged against the blushing maidens, fired the youth to evil conduct, singed the beards of men and heroes. When the mother nursed her baby in the cold and cheerless cradle, thither flew the wicked fire-child, there to perpetrate some mischief. In the cradle burned the infant, by the infant burned the mother, that the babe might visit Mana in the kingdom of Tuoni. Said the child was born for dying, only destined for destruction, through the tortures of the fire-child. Greater knowledge had the mother, did not journey to Manala. Knew the word to check the red flame, how to banish the intruder, through the eyelet of a needle, through the death-hole of the hatches. Then the ancient Wainamoinen questioned Ilmatar as follows. Whither did the fire-child wander? Whither did the red flame hasten, from the border fields of Tori, to the woods, or to the waters? Straightway Ilmatar thus answers. When the fire had fled from Tori, from the castles of Palvoinen, through the eyelet of the needle, through the death-hole of the hatchet, first it burned the fields and forest, burned the lowlands and the heather. Then it sought the mighty waters, sought the Alue sea and river, and the waters hissed and sputtered in their anger at the fire-child, fiery red the boiling Alue. 3 times in the nights of summer, 9 times in the nights of autumns, boil the waters to the tree-tops, roll and tumble to the mountain, through the red bull's force and fury. Hurls the pike upon the pastures, to the mountain cliffs the salmon, where the ocean dwellers wander, long reflect and well consider, how to still the angry waters. Wept the salmon for his grotto, mourned the whiting for his cavern, and the lake trout for his dwelling. Quick the crook-necked salmon darted, tried to catch the fire intruder, but the red bull quick escaped him. Darted then the daring whiting, swallowed quick the wicked fire-child, swallowed quick the flame of evil. Quiet grow the Alue waters, slowly settle to their shorelines, to their long accustomed places in the long and dismal evening. Time had gone but little distance, when the whiting grew affrighted. Fear befell the fire-devourer. Burning pain and writhing tortures seized the eater of the fire-child. Swam the fish in all directions, called and moaned and swam and circled. Swam 1 day and then a second, swam the 3rd from morn to even. Swam she to the whiting island, to the caverns of the salmon, where 100 islands cluster, and the islands there assembled thus addressed the fire-devourer. There is none within these waters, in the narrow Alue lakelet, that will eat the fated firefish, that will swallow thee in trouble, in thine agonies and tortured, from the fire-child thou hast eaten. Hearing this, a trout forth darting, swallowed quick as light the whiting, quickly ate the fire-devourer. Time had gone but little distance, when the trout became affrighted. Fear befell the whiting eater. Burning pain and riding torment seized the eater of the firefish. Swam the trout in all directions, called and mourned and swam and circled. Swam one day and then a second, swam the third from morn to even. Swam she to the Salmon Island, swam she to the whiting grottos, where 1,000 islands cluster, and the islands there assembled thus addressed the tortured lake trout. There is none within this river, in these narrow Alue waters, that will eat the wicked firefish, that will swallow thee in trouble, in thine agonies and tortures, from the firefish thou hast eaten. Hearing this, the grey pike darted, swallowed quick as light the lake trout, quickly ate the tortured firefish. Time had gone but little distance, when the grey pike grew affrighted. Fear befell the lake trout eater. Burning pain and riding torment seized the reckless trout devourer. Swam the pike in all directions, called and moaned and swam and circled. Swam one day and then a second, swam the third from morn to even. To the cave of ocean swallows, to the sandhills of the seagulls, where 100 islands cluster, and the islands there assembled thus addressed the fire-devourer. There is none within this lakelet, in these narrow Alue waters, that will eat the fated firefish, that will swallow thee in trouble, in thine agonies and tortures, from the firefish thou hast eaten. Wainamoinen, wise and ancient, with the aid of Ilmarinen, weaves with skill a mighty fish net from the juniper and sea-grass, dyes the net with all the waters, ties it well with thongs of willow. Straightway ancient Wainamoinen called the maidens to the fish-net, and the sisters came as bidden. With the netting rowed they onward, rowed they to the 100 islands, to the grottos of the salmon, to the caverns of the whiting, to the reeds of sable colour, where the grey pike rests and watches. On they hasten to the fishing, drag the net in all directions, drag it lengthwise, sidewise, crosswise, and diagonally zigzag. But they did not catch the firefish. Then the brothers went a-fishing, dragged the net in all directions, backwards, forwards, lengthwise, sidewise, through the homes of ocean dwellers, through the grottos of the salmon, through the dwellings of the whiting, through the reed beds of the lake trout, where the grey pike lies in ambush. But the fated firefish came not from the lake's abysses, came not from the Alue waters. Little fish could not be captured in the large nets of the masters. Murmured then the deep-sea dwellers, spake the salmon to the lake trout, and the lake trout to the whiting, and the whiting to the grey pike. Have the heroes of Wainola died, or have they all departed from these fertile shores and waters? Where then are the ancient weavers, weavers of the nets of flax thread, those that frighten us with fish poles, drag us from our homes unwilling? Hearing this, wise Wainamoinen answered thus the deep-sea dwellers, Neither have Wainola's heroes died, nor have they all departed from these fertile shores and waters. 2 are born where 1 has perished. Longer poles and finer fish nets have the sons of Kalevala. End of Rune 47, recording by Jonna.
Rune 48 of the Kalevala. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Kalevala, compiled by Elias LÖNNROT, translated by John Martin Crawford. Rune 48. Capture of the Firefish. Wainamoinen, the enchanter, the eternal wisdom singer, long reflected, well considered, how to weave the nets of flax yarn, weave the fish net of the fathers. Spake the minstrel of Wainola, Who will plough the field and fallow, sow the flax and spin the flax threads, that I may prepare the fish net, wherewith I may catch the fire pike, may secure the thing of evil? Soon they found a fertile island, found the fallow soil befitting, on the border of the heather, and between two stately oak trees. They prepared the soil for sowing, searching everywhere for flax seed, found it in Tuoni's kingdom, in the keeping of an insect. Then they found a pile of ashes, where the fire had burned a vessel; in the ashes sowed the seedlings, near the Alue lake and border, in the rich and loamy fallow. There the seed took root and flourished, quickly grew to great proportions, in a single night in summer. Thus the flax was sowed at evening, placed within the earth by moonlight; quick it grew, and quickly ripened; quick Wainola's heroes pulled it; quick they broke it on the hackles, hastened with it to the waters, dipped it in the lake and washed it; quickly brought it home and dried it; quickly broke, and combed, and smoothed it; brushed it well at early morning, laid it into laps for spinning. Quick the maidens twirl the spindles, spin the flaxen threads for weaving, in a single night in summer. Quick the sisters wind and reel it, make it ready for the needle. Brothers weave it into fish nets, and the fathers twist the cordage, while the mothers knit the meshes. Rapidly the mesh stick circles, soon the fish net is completed, in a single night in summer. As the magic net is finished, and in length 100 fathoms, on the rim 300 fathoms. Rounded stones are fastened to it, joined thereto are 7 float boards. Now the young men take the fish net, and the old men cheer them onward, wish them good luck at their fishing. Long they row and drag the flax seine, here and there the net is lowered. Now they drag it lengthwise, sidewise, drag it through the slimy reed beds. But they do not catch the fire pike, only smelts and luckless redfish, little fish of little value. Spake the ancient Wainamoinen: "O thou blacksmith, Ilmarinen, let us go ourselves a fishing, let us catch the fish of evil." To the fishing went the brothers, magic heroes of the Northland, pulled the fish net through the waters, toward an island in the deep sea. Then they turn and drag the fish net, toward a meadow jutting seaward. Now they drag it toward Wainola, draw it lengthwise, sidewise, crosswise, catching fish of every species, salmon, trout, and pike, and whiting, do not catch the evil fire fish. Then the master Wainamoinen made additions to its borders, made it many fathoms wider, and 100 fathoms longer. Then these words the hero uttered: "Famous blacksmith, Ilmarinen, let us go again a fishing, row again the magic fish net, drag it well through all the waters, that we may obtain the fire pike." Thereupon the Northland heroes go a second time a fishing, drag their nets across the rivers, lakelets, seas, and bays, and inlets, catching fish of many species, but the fire fish is not taken. Wainamoinen, ancient singer, long reflecting, spake these measures: "Dear Wellamo, water hostess, ancient mother with the reed breast, come, exchange thy water raiment, change thy coat of reeds and rushes, for the garments I shall give thee. Light sea foam, thine inner vesture, and thine outer moss and sea grass, fashioned by the wind's fair daughters, woven by the flood's sweet maidens, I will give thee linen vestments, spun from flax of softest fibre, woven by the moon's white virgins, fashioned by the sun's bright daughters, fitting raiment for Wellamo. Ahto, king of all the waters, ruler of 1,000 grottoes, take a pole of 7 fathoms, search with this the deepest waters, rummage well the lowest bottoms, stir up all the reeds and seaweeds, hither drive a school of gray pike, drive them to our magic fish net, from the haunts in pike abounding, from the caverns and the trout holes, from the whirlpools of the deep sea, from the bottomless abysses, where the sunshine never enters, where the moonlight never visits, and the sands are never troubled." Rose a pygmy from the waters, from the floods a little hero, riding on a rolling billow, and the pygmy spake these measures: "Dost thou wish a worthy helper, one to use the pole and frighten pike and salmon to thy fish nets?" Wainamoinen, old and faithful, answered thus the lake born hero: "Yea, we need a worthy helper, one to hold the pole and frighten pike and salmon to our fish nets." Thereupon the water pygmy cut a linden from the border, spake these words to Wainamoinen: "Shall I scare with all my powers, with the forces of my being, as thou needest shall I scare them?" Spake the minstrel Wainamoinen: "If thou scarest as is needed, thou wilt scare with all thy forces, with the strength of thy dominions." Then began the pygmy hero to affright the deep sea dwellers, drove the fish in countless numbers to the net of the magicians. Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, drew his net along the waters, drew it with his ropes of flax thread, spake these words of magic import: "Come ye fish of Northland waters to the regions of my fish net, as my 100 meshes lower." Then the net was drawn and fastened, many were the gray pike taken, by the master and magician. Wainamoinen, happy hearted, hastened to a neighboring island, to a blue point in the waters, near a red bridge on the headland, landed there his draught of fishes, cast the pike upon the sea shore, and the fire pike, who was among them, cast the others to the waters. Spake the ancient Wainamoinen: "May I touch thee with my fingers, using not my gloves of iron, using not my blue stone mittens?" This the Sun child hears and answers: "I should like to carve the fire fish, I should like this pike to handle, if I had the knife of good luck." Quick a knife falls from the heavens, from the clouds a magic fish knife, silver edged and golden headed, to the girdle of the Sun child. Quick he grasps the copper handle, quick the hero carves the fire pike, finds therein the tortured lake trout, carves the lake trout thus discovered, finds therein the fated whiting, carves the whiting, finds a blue ball in the third cave of his body. He, the blue ball quick unwinding, finds within a ball of scarlet, carefully removes the cover, finds the ball of fire within it, finds the flame from heaven fallen, from the heights of the 7th heaven, through 9 regions of the ether. Wainamoinen long reflected how to get the magic fire ball to Wainola's fireless hearthstones, to his cold and cheerless dwellings. Quick he snatched the fire of heaven from the fingers of the Sun child. Wainamoinen's beard it singes, burns the brow of Ilmarinen, burns the fingers of the blacksmith. Rolling forth it hastens westward, hastens to the Alue shorelines, burns the juniper and alder, burns the arid heath and meadow, rises to the lofty linden, burns the firs upon the mountains, hastens onward, 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 burns the islands of the Northland, burns the Sava fields and forests, burns the dry lands of Karjala. Straightway ancient Wainamoinen hastens through the fields and fenlands, tracks the ranger to the glenwood, finds the Fire child in an elm tree, sleeping in a bed of fungus. Thereupon wise Wainamoinen wakes the child and speaks these measures: "Wicked fire that God created, flame of Ukko from the heavens, thou hast gone in vain to sea caves, to the lakes without a reason. Better go thou to my village, to the hearthstones of my people. Hide thyself within my chimneys, in mine ashes sleep and linger. In the daytime I will use thee, to devour the blocks of birch wood, in the evening I will hide thee underneath the golden circle." Then he took the willing Panu, took the willing fire of Ukko, laid it in a box of tinder, in the punk wood of a birch tree, in a vessel forged from copper, carried it with care and pleasure to the fog point in the waters, to the island forest covered. Thus returned the fire to Northland, to the chambers of Wainola, to the hearths of Kalevala. Ilmarinen, famous blacksmith, hastened to the deep sea's margin, sat upon the rock of torture, feeling pain the flame had given, laved his wounds with briny water, thus to still the Fire child's fury, thus to end his persecutions. Long reflecting, Ilmarinen thus addressed the flame of Ukko: "Evil Panu from the heavens, wicked son of God from ether, tell me what has made thee angry, made thee burn my weary members, burn my beard and face and fingers, made me suffer deathland tortures?" Spake again young Ilmarinen: "How can I wild Panu conquer, how shall I control his conduct, make him end his evil doings? Come, thou daughter from Pohyola, come, white virgin of the hoar frost, come on shoes of ice from Lapland, icicles upon thy garments, in one hand a cup of white frost, in the other hand an ice spoon. Sprinkle snow upon my members, where the Fire child has been resting, let the hoar frost fall and settle. Should this prayer be unavailing, come, thou son of Sariola, come, thou child of frost from Pohya, come, thou Longman from the ice plains, of the height of stately pine trees, slender as the trunks of lindens. On thy hands the gloves of hoar frost, cap of ice upon thy forehead, on thy waist a white frost girdle. Bring the ice dust from Pohjola, from the cold and sunless village. Rain is crystallized in Northland, ice in Pohja is abundant. Lakes of ice and ice-bound rivers, frozen smooth the sea of ether. Bounds the hare in frosted fur robe, climbs the bear in icy raiment, ambles over the snowy mountains. Swans of frost descend the rivers, ducks of ice in countless numbers swim upon thy freezing waters, near the cataract and whirlpool. Bring me frost upon thy snow sledge, snow and ice in great abundance, from the summit of the wild top, from the borders of the mountains. With thine ice and snow and hoar frost cover well mine injured members, where wild Panu has been resting, where the child of fire has lingered. Should this call be ineffective, Ukko, god of love and mercy, first and last of the creators, from the east send forth a snow cloud, from the west dispatch a second. Join their edges well together, let there be no vacant places. Let these clouds bring snow and hoar frost. Lay the healing balm of Ukko on my burning tortured tissues, where wild Panu has been resting. Thus the blacksmith Ilmarinen stills the pains by fire engendered, stills the agonies and tortures, brought him by the child of evil, brought him by the wicked Panu. End of Rune 48. Recording by Sonia.
Rune 49 of the Kalevala. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Kalevala. Compiled by Elias LÖNNROT, translated by John Martin Crawford. Rune 49. Restoration of the Sun and Moon. Thus has fire returned to Northland. But the gold moon is not shining, neither gleams the silver sunlight in the chambers of Wainola, on the plains of Kalevala, on the crops the white frost settled, and the cattle died of hunger. Even birds grew sick and perished, men and maidens faint and famished, perished in the cold and darkness, from the absence of the sunshine, from the absence of the moonlight. Knew the pike his holes and hollows, and the eagle knew his highway, knew the winds the times for sailing. But the wise men of the Northland could not know the dawn of morning. On the fog point in the ocean, on the islands forest covered, young and aged talked and wondered, well reflected, long debated, how to live without the moonlight, live without the silver sunshine, in the cold and cheerless Northland, in the homes of Kalevala. Long conjectured all the maidens, orphans asked the wise for counsel. Spake a maid to Ilmarinen, running to the blacksmith's furnace: "Rise, O artist, from thy slumbers, hasten from thy couch unworthy, forge from gold the moon for Northland, forge anew the sun from silver. Cannot live without the moonlight, nor without the silver sunshine." From his couch arose the artist, from his couch of stone the blacksmith, and began his work of forging, forging sun and moon for Northland. Came the ancient Wainamoinen, in the doorway sat and lingered, spake these words to Ilmarinen: "Blacksmith, my beloved brother, thou the only metal worker, tell me why thy magic hammer falls so heavy on thine anvil." Spoke the youthful Ilmarinen: "Moon of gold and sun of silver I am forging for Wainola. I shall swing them into ether, plant them in the starry heavens." Spake the wise old Wainamoinen: "Senseless blacksmith of the ages, vainly dost thou swing thy hammer, vainly rings thy mighty anvil. Silver will not gleam as sunshine, not of gold is born the moonlight." Ilmarinen, little heeding, ceases not to ply his hammer. Sun and moon the artist forges, wings the moon of magic upward, hurls it to the pine tree branches, does not shine without her master. Then the silver sun he stations in an elm tree on the mountains. From his forehead drips the sweat drops, perspiration from his fingers, through his labors at the anvil, while the sun and moon were forging. But the sun shone not at morning from his station in the elm tree, and the moon shone not at evening from the pine tree's topmost branches. Spake the ancient Wainamoinen, let the fates be now consulted, and the oracles examined. Only thus may we discover where the sun and moon lie hidden. Thereupon old Wainamoinen, only wise and true magician, cut 3 chips from trunks of alder, laid the chips in magic order, touched and turned them with his fingers, spake these words of master magic. Of my maker seek I knowledge, ask in hope and faith the answer, from the great magician Ukko. Tongue of alder, tell me truly, symbol of the great creator, where the sun and moon are sleeping, for the moon shines not in season, nor appears the sun at midday, from their stations in the sky vault. Speak the truth, O magic alder, speak not words of man nor hero, hither bring but truthful measures. Let us form a sacred compact, if thou speakest me a falsehood, I will hurl thee to Manala. Let the nether fires consume thee, that thine evil signs may perish. Thereupon the alder answered, spake these words of truthful import. Verily the sun lies hidden, and the golden moon is sleeping in the stoneberg of Pohjola, in the copper-bearing mountain. These the words of Wainamoinen, I shall go at once to Northland, to the cold and dark Pohjola. Bring the sun and moon to gladden all Wainola's fields and forests. Forth he hastens on his journey to the dismal Sariola, to the Northland cold and dreary, travels one day, then a second. So the third from morn till evening, when appear the gates of Pohja, with their snow-clad hills and mountains. Wainamoinen the magician at the river of Pohjola loudly calls the fairy maiden. Bring a boat, O Pohja daughter, bring a strong and trusty vessel, row me o'er these chilling waters, o'er this rough and rapid river. But the fairy maiden heard not, did not listen to his calling. Thereupon old Wainamoinen laid a pile of well-dried brushwood, knots and needles of the fir tree, made a fire beside the river, sent the black smoke into heaven, curling to the home of Ukko. Louhi, hostess of the Northland, hastened to her chamber window, looked upon the bay and river, spake these words to her attendants. Why the fire across the river, where the current meets the deep sea, smaller than the fires of foemen, larger than the flames of hunters? Thereupon Apollyander hastened from the court of Louhi, that the cause he might discover, bring the sought for information to the hostess of Pohjola. Saw upon the river border some great hero from Wainola. Wainamoinen saw the stranger, called again in tones of thunder, Bring a skiff, thou son of Northland, for the minstrel Wainamoinen. Thus the Pohjolander answered, Here no skiffs are lying idle, row thyself across the waters, use thine arms and feet and fingers to propel thee o'er the river, o'er the sacred stream of Pohja. Wainamoinen, long reflecting, bravely thus soliloquizes, I will change my form and features, will assume a second body, neither man nor ancient minstrel, master of the Northland waters. Then the singer Wainamoinen leapt a pike upon the waters, quickly swam the rapid river, gained the frigid Pohja border. There his native form resuming, walked he as a mighty hero on the dismal isle of Louhi. Spake the wicked sons of Northland, Come thou to Pohjola's courtroom. To Pohjola's court he hastened, spake again the sons of evil. Come thou to the halls of Louhi. To Pohjola's halls he hastened, on the latch he laid his fingers, set his foot within the fore-hall, hastened to the inner chamber, underneath the painted rafters, where the Northland heroes gather. There he found the Pohja masters, girded with their swords of battle, with their spears and battle axes, with their fatal bows and arrows, for the death of Wainamoinen, ancient bard Suvantolainen. Thus they asked the hero stranger, magic swimmer of the Northland, son of evil, what the message that thou bringest from thy people, what thy mission to Pohjola? Wainamoinen, old and truthful, thus addressed the hosts of Louhi. For the sun I come to Northland, come to seek the moon in Pohja. Tell me where the sun lies hidden, where the golden moon is sleeping. Spake the evil sons of Pohja, both the sun and moon are hidden in the rock of many colors, in the copper-bearing mountain, in a cavern iron-banded, in the stoneberg of Pohjola. Never more to gain their freedom, never more to shine in Northland. Spake the hero Wainamoinen, if the sun be not uncovered, if the moon leave not her dungeon, I will challenge all Pohjola to the test of spear or broadsword. Let us now our weapons measure. Quick the hero of Wainola drew his mighty sword of magic. On its border shone the moonlight, on its hilt the sun was shining, on its back a neighing stallion, on its face a cat was mewing. Beautiful his magic weapon. Quick the hero's swords are tested, and the blades are rightly measured. Wainamoinen's sword is longest, by a single grain of barley, by a blade of straw the widest. To the courtyard rush the heroes, hasten to the deadly combat, on the plains of Sariola. Wainamoinen, the magician, strikes one blow, and then a second, strikes a third time, cuts and conquers. As the housemaids slice the turnips, as they lop the heads of cabbage, as the stalks of flax are broken, so the heads of Louhi's heroes fall before the magic broadsword of the ancient Wainamoinen. Then the victor from Wainola, ancient bard and great magician, went to find the sun in slumber, and the golden moon discover, in the copper-bearing mountains, in the cavern iron-banded, in the stoneberg of Pohjola. He had gone but little distance, when he found a sea-green island. On the island stood a birch tree, near the birch tree stood a pillar, carved in stone of many colours. In the pillar 9 large portals, bolted in 100 places. In the rock he found a crevice, sending forth a gleam of sunlight. Quick he drew his mighty broadsword, from the pillar struck 3 colours, from the magic of his weapon, and the pillar fell asunder. 3 the number of the fragments. Wainamoinen, old and faithful, through the crevice looked and wondered. In the centre of the pillar, from a scarlet-coloured basin, noxious serpents beer were drinking, and the adders eating spices. Spake the ancient Wainamoinen, therefore has Pohjola's hostess little drink to give to strangers, since her beer is drank by serpents, and her spices given to adders. Quick he draws his magic fire-blade, cuts the vipers green in pieces, lops the heads off all the adders, speaks these words of master magic. Thus hereafter let the serpent drink the famous beer of barley, feed upon the Northland spices. Wainamoinen, the magician, the eternal wizard-singer, sought to open wide the portals with the hands and words of magic, but his hands had lost their cunning, and his magic gone to others. Thereupon the ancient minstrel, quick returning, heavy-hearted, to his native halls and hamlets, thus addressed his brother heroes. Woman he without his weapons, with no implements, a weakling. Sun and moon have I discovered, but I could not force the portals, leading to their rocky cavern in the copper-bearing mountain. Spake the reckless Lemminkainen, O thou ancient Wainamoinen, why was I not taken with thee, to become thy war-companion? Would have been of goodly service, would have drawn the bolts or broken all the portals to the cavern, where the sun and moon lie hidden, in the copper-bearing mountain. Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, thus replied to Lemminkainen, empty words will break no portals, draw no bolts of any moment. Locks and bolts are never broken with the words of little wisdom. Greater means than thou commandest must be used to free the sunshine, free the moonlight from her dungeon. Wainamoinen, not discouraged, hastened to the forge and smithy, spake these words to Ilmarinen. O thou famous metal artist, forge for me a magic trident, forge from steel 12 stout rings, master keys a goodly number, iron bars and heavy hammers, that the sun we may uncover in the copper-bearing mountain, in the stoneberg of Pohjola. Then the blacksmith Ilmarinen, the eternal metal worker, forged the needs of Wainamoinen, forged for him the magic trident, forged from steel 12 stout rings, master keys a goodly number, iron bars and heavy hammers, not the largest nor the smallest, forged them all of right dimensions. Louhi, hostess of Pohjola, Northland's old and toothless wizard, fastened wings upon her shoulders, as an eagle sailed the heavens, over field and fen and forest, over Pohja's many waters, to the hamlets of Wainola, to the forge of Ilmarinen. Quick the famous metal worker went to see if winds were blowing, found the winds at peace and silent, found an eagle sable-coloured perched upon his window casement. Spake the artist Ilmarinen, magic bird, whom art thou seeking? Why art sitting at my window? This the answer of the eagle. Art thou blacksmith Ilmarinen, the eternal iron forger, master of the magic metals, Northland's wonder-working artist? Ilmarinen gave this answer, there is nothing here of wonder, since I forged the dome of heaven, forged the earth a concave cover. Spake again the magic eagle, why this ringing of thine anvil, why this knocking of thy hammer? Tell me what thy hands are forging. This the answer of the blacksmith, 'tis a collar I am forging for the neck of wicked Louhi, toothless witch of Sariola, stealer of the silver sunshine, stealer of the golden moonlight. With this collar I shall bind her to the iron rock of Estland. Louhi, hostess of Pohjola, saw misfortune fast approaching, saw destruction flying over, saw the signs of bad luck lower. quickly winged her way through ether to her native halls and chambers, to the darksome Sariola. There unlocked the massive portals, where the sun and moon were hidden, in the rock of many colors, in the cavern iron-banded, in the copper-bearing mountain. Then again the wicked Louhi changed her withered form and features, and became a dove of good luck. Straightway winged the starry heavens, over field and fen and forest, to the meadows of Wainola, to the plains of Kalevala, to the forge of Ilmarinen. This the question of the blacksmith: "Wherefore comest, dove of good luck? What the tidings that thou bringest?" Thus the magic bird made answer: "Wherefore come I to thy smithy? Come to bring the joyful tidings that the sun has left his cavern, left the rock of many colors, left the stoneberg of Pohjola, that the moon no more is hidden in the copper-bearing mountains, in the caverns iron-banded." Straightway hastened Ilmarinen to the threshold of his smithy, quickly scanned the far horizon, saw again the silver sunshine, saw once more the golden moonlight, bringing peace and joy and plenty to the homes of Kalevala. Thereupon the blacksmith hastened to his brother Wainamoinen, spake these words to the magician: "O thou ancient bard and minstrel, the eternal wizard singer, see the sun again is shining, and the golden moon is beaming from their long neglected places, from their stations in the sky vault." Wainamoinen, old and faithful, straightway hastened to the courtyard, looked upon the far horizon, saw once more the silver sunshine, saw again the golden moonlight, bringing peace and joy and plenty to the people of the Northland. And the minstrel spake these measures: "Greetings to thee, sun of fortune, greetings to thee, moon of good luck. Welcome sunshine, welcome moonlight, golden is the dawn of morning. Free art thou, O sun of silver, free again, O moon beloved, as the sacred cuckoo's singing, as the ringdove's liquid cooings. Rise thou, silver sun, each morning, source of light and life hereafter, bring us daily joyful greetings, fill our homes with peace and plenty, that our sowing, fishing, hunting may be prospered by thy coming. Travel on thy daily journey, let the moon be ever with thee, glide along thy way rejoicing, end thy journeyings in slumber, rest at evening in the ocean, when the daily cares have ended, to the good of all thy people, to the pleasure of Wainola, to the joy of Kalevala." End of Rune 49. Recording by Timothy Ferguson, Gold Coast, Australia.
Rune 50 of the Kalevala. The Kalevala, compiled by Elias LÖNNROT. Translated by John Martin Crawford. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Rune 50, Mariatta, Wainamoinen's departure. Mariatta, child of beauty, grew to maidenhood in Northland, in the cabin of her father, in the chambers of her mother, golden ringlets, silver girdles, worn against the keys paternal, glittering upon her bosom. Wore away the father's threshold with the long robes of her garments, wore away the painted rafters with her beauteous silken ribbons, wore away the gilded pillars with the touching of her fingers, wore away the birchen flooring with the tramping of her fur shoes. Mariatta, child of beauty, magic maid of little stature, guarded well her sacred virtue, her sincerity and honor, fed upon the dainty whiting, on the inner bark of birchwood, on the tender flesh of lambkins. When she hastened in the evening to her milking in the hurdles, spake in innocence as follows: "Never will the snow-white virgin milk the kine of one unworthy." When she journeyed over snowfields on the seat beside her father, spake in purity as follows: "Not behind a steed unworthy will I ever ride the snow sleigh." Mariatta, child of beauty, lived a virgin with her mother, as a maiden highly honored, lived in innocence and beauty, daily drove her flocks to pasture, walking with the gentle lambkins. When the lambkins climbed the mountains, when they gambled on the hilltops, stepped the virgin to the meadow, skipping through a grove of lindens, at the calling of the cuckoo, to the songster's golden measures. Mariatta, child of beauty, looked about, intently listened, sat upon the berry meadow, sat a while and meditated on a hillock by the forest, and soliloquized as follows: Call to me, thou golden cuckoo, sing, thou sacred bird of Northland, sing, thou silver-breasted songster, speak, thou strawberry of Estland, tell how long must I, unmarried, as a shepherdess neglected, wander o'er these hills and mountains, through these flowery fens and fallows. Tell me, cuckoo of the woodlands, sing to me how many summers I must live without a husband, as a shepherdess neglected. Mariatta, child of beauty, lived a shepherd maid for ages, as a virgin with her mother. Wretched are the lives of shepherds, lives of maidens still more wretched, guarding flocks upon the mountains. Serpents creep in bog and stumble, on the greensward dart the lizards. But it was no serpent singing, nor a sacred lizard calling, it was but the mountain berry calling to the lonely maiden. Come, O virgin, come and pluck me, come and take me to thy bosom, take me tinsel-breasted virgin, take me maiden copper-belted, ere the slimy snail devours me, ere the blackworm feeds upon me. Hundreds pass my way unmindful, thousands come within my hearing, berry maidens swarm about me, children come in countless numbers, none of these has come to gather, come to pluck this ruddy berry. Mariatta, child of beauty, listened to the gentle pleading, ran to pick the berry, calling with her fair and dainty fingers, saw it smiling near the meadow, like a cranberry in feature, like a strawberry in flavor. But be virgin Mariatta could not pluck the woodland stranger, thereupon she cut a charm stick, downward pressed upon the berry, when it rose as if by magic, rose above her shoes of ermine, then above her copper girdle, darted upward to her bosom, leaped upon the maiden's shoulders, on her dimpled chin it rested, on her lips it perched a moment, hastened to her tongue expectant, to and fro it rocked and lingered, thence it hastened on its journey, settled in the maiden's bosom. Mariatta, child of beauty, thus became a bride impregnant, wedded to the mountain berry, lingered in her room at morning, sat at midday in the darkness, hastened to her couch at evening, thus the watchful mother wonders. What has happened to our Mary, to our virgin Mariatta, that she throws aside her girdle, shyly slips through hall and chamber, lingers in her room at morning, hastens to her couch at evening, sits at midday in the darkness? On the floor a babe was playing, and the young child thus made answer. This has happened to our Mary, to our virgin Mariatta, this misfortune to the maiden, she has lingered by the meadows, played too long among the lambkins, tasted of the mountain berry. Long the virgin watched and waited, anxiously the days she counted, waited for the dawn of trouble. Finally she asked her mother, these the words of Mariatta. Faithful mother, fond and tender, mother whom I love and cherish, make for me a place befitting, where my troubles may be lessened, and my heavy burdens lightened. This the answer of the mother, woe to thee, thou Hisi maiden, since thou art a bride unworthy, wedded only to dishonor. Mariatta, child of beauty, thus replied in truthful measures. I am not a maid of Hisi, I am not a bride unworthy, am not wedded to dishonor. As a shepherdess I wandered with the lambkins to the glenwood, wandered to the berry mountain, where the strawberry had ripened. Quick as thought I plucked the berry, on my tongue I gently laid it, to and fro it rocked and lingered, settled in my heaving bosom. This the source of all my trouble, only cause of my dishonor. As the mother was relentless, asked the maiden of her father, this the virgin mother's pleading. O my father, full of pity, source of both my good and evil, build for me a place befitting, where my troubles may be lessened, and my heavy burdens lightened. This the answer of the father unforgiving. Go thou evil child of Hisi, go thou child of sin and sorrow, wedded only to dishonor, to the great bear's rocky chamber, to the stone cave of the growler, there to lessen all thy troubles, there to cast thy heavy burdens. Mariatta, child of beauty, thus made answer to her father. I am not a child of Hisi, I am not a bride unworthy, am not wedded to dishonor. I shall bear a noble hero, I shall bear a son immortal, who will rule among the mighty, rule the ancient Wainamoinen. Thereupon the virgin mother wandered hither, wandered thither, seeking for a place befitting, seeking for a worthy birthplace, for her unborn son and hero. Finally these words she uttered. Piltti, thou my youngest maiden, trustiest of all my servants, seek a place within the village, ask it of the brook of Sarah, for the troubled Mariatta, child of sorrow and misfortune. Thereupon the little maiden Piltti spake these words in answer. Whom shall I entreat for succor, who will lend me his assistance? These the words of Mariatta. Go and ask it of Ruotus, where the reed brook pours her waters. Thereupon the servant Piltti, ever hopeful, ever willing, hastened to obey her mistress, needing not her exhortation, hastened like the rapid river, like the flying smoke of battle, to the cabin of Ruotus. When she walked, the hilltops tottered, when she ran, the mountains trembled, shore reeds danced upon the pasture, sandstones skipped about the heather, as the maiden Piltti hastened to the dwelling of Ruotus. At his table in his cabin sat Ruotus eating, drinking, in his simple coat of linen. With his elbows on the table spake the wizard in amazement. "Why hast thou, a maid of evil, come to see me in my cavern, what the message thou art bringing?" Thereupon the servant Piltti gave this answer to the wizard. "Seek I for a spot befitting, seek I for a worthy birthplace, for an unborn child and hero, seek it near the Sara streamlet, where the reed brook pours her waters." Came the wife of old Ruotus, walking with her arms akimbo, thus addressed the maiden Piltti. "Who is she that asks assistance, who the maiden thus dishonored, what her name and who her kindred?" "I have come for Mariatta, for the worthy virgin mother," spake the wife of old Ruotus, evil-minded, cruel-hearted. "Occupied are all our chambers, all our bathrooms near the reed brook, in the mount of fire our couches, is a stable in the forest, for the flaming horse of Hisi, in the stable is a manger, fitting birthplace for the hero, from the wife of cold misfortune, worthy couch for Mariatta." Thereupon the servant Piltti hastened to her anxious mistress, spake these measures much regretting. "There is not a place befitting on the silver brook of Sara," spake the wife of old Ruotus. "Occupied are all the chambers, all the bathrooms near the reed brook, in the mount of fire our couches, is a stable in the forest, for the flaming horse of Hisi, in the stable is a manger, fitting birthplace for the hero, from the wife of cold misfortune, worthy couch for Mariatta." Thereupon the hapless maiden, Mariatta, virgin mother, fell to bitter tears and murmurs, spake these words in depths of sorrow. "I, alas, must go an outcast, wander as a wretched hireling, like a servant in dishonor, hasten to the burning mountain, to the stable in the forest, make my bed within a manger, near the flaming steed of Hisi." Quick the hapless virgin mother, outcast from her father's dwelling, gathered up her flowing raiment, grasped a broom of birchen branches, hastened forth in pain and sorrow, to the stable in the woodlands, on the heights of Tapio's mountains, spake these words in supplication. "Come, I pray thee, my creator, only friend in times of trouble, come to me and bring protection to thy child, the virgin mother, to the maiden Mariatta, in this hour of sore affliction. Come to me, benignant Ukko, come thou only hope and refuge, lest thy guiltless child should perish, die the death of the unworthy." When the virgin Mariatta had arrived within the stable of the flaming horse of Hisi, she addressed the steed as follows. "Breathe, O sympathizing fire horse, breathe on me, the virgin mother, let thy heated breath give moisture, let thy pleasant warmth surround me, like the vapor of the morning, let this pure and helpless maiden find a refuge in thy manger." Thereupon the horse in pity breathed the moisture in his nostril on the body of the virgin, wrapped her in a cloud of vapor, gave her warmth and needed comforts, gave his aid to the afflicted, to the virgin Mariatta. There the babe was born and cradled, cradled in a woodland manger of the virgin Mariatta, pure as pearly dews of morning, holy as the stars in heaven. There the mother rocks her infant, in his swaddling clothes she wraps him, lays him in her robes of linen. Carefully the babe she nurtures, well she guards her much beloved, guards her golden child of beauty, her beloved gem of silver. But alas, the child has vanished, vanished while the mother slumbered. Mariatta, lone and wretched, fell to weeping broken-hearted, hastened off to seek her infant everywhere. The mother sought him, sought her golden child of beauty, her beloved gem of silver. Sought him underneath the millstone, in the sleigh she sought him vainly, underneath the sieve she sought him, underneath the willow basket. Touched the trees, the grass she parted, long she sought her golden infant, sought him on the fir tree mountain, in the vale and hill and heather, looks within the clumps of flowers, well examines every thicket, lifts the juniper and willow, lifts the branches of the alder. Lo, a star has come to meet her, and the star she thus beseeches. "O thou guiding star of Northland, star of hope by God created, dost thou know and wilt thou tell me where my darling child has wandered, where my holy babe lies hidden?" Thus the star of Northland answers. "If I knew, I would not tell thee, 'tis thy child that me created, set me here to watch at evening, in the cold to shine forever, here to twinkle in the darkness." Comes the golden moon to meet her, and the moon she thus beseeches. Golden moon, by Ukko fashioned, hope and joy of Kalevala, dost thou know and wilt thou tell me where my darling child has wandered, where my holy babe lies hidden? Speaks the golden moon in answer: If I knew I would not tell thee, 'tis thy child that me created, here to wander in the darkness, all alone at eve to wander, on my cold and cheerless journey, sleeping only in the daylight, shining for the good of others. Thereupon the virgin mother falls again to bitter weeping, hastens on through fen and forest, seeking for her babe departed. Comes the silver sun to meet her, and the sun she thus addresses: Silver sun, by Ukko fashioned, source of light and life of Northland, dost thou know and wilt thou tell me where my darling child has wandered, where my holy babe lies hidden? Wisely does the sun make answer: Well I know thy babe's dominions, where thy holy child is sleeping, where Wainola's light lies hidden. 'Tis thy child that me created, made me king of earth and ether, made the moon and stars attend me, set me here to shine at midday, makes me shine in silver raiment, lets me sleep and rest at evening. Yonder is thy golden infant, there thy holy babe lies sleeping, hidden to his belt and waters, hidden in the reeds and rushes. Mariatta, child of beauty, virgin mother of the Northland, straightway seeks her babe in swampland, finds him in the reeds and rushes, takes the young child on her bosom to the dwelling of her father. There the infant grew in beauty, gathered strength and light and wisdom, all of Suomi saw and wondered. No one knew what name to give him. When the mother named him Flower, others named him Son of Sorrow. When the virgin Mariatta sought the priesthood to baptize him, came an old man, Vuorokanas, with a cup of holy water, bringing to the babe his blessing, and the graybeard spake as follows: I shall not baptize a wizard, shall not bless a black magician with the drops of holy water. Let the young child be examined, let us know that he is worthy, lest he prove the son of witchcraft. Thereupon old Vuorokanas called the ancient Wainamoinen, the eternal wisdom singer, to inspect the infant wonder, to report him good or evil. Wainamoinen, old and faithful, carefully the child examined, gave this answer to his people: Since the child is but an outcast, born and cradled in a manger, since the berry is his father, let him lie upon the heather, let him sleep among the rushes, let him live upon the mountains. Take the young child to the marshes, dash his head against the birch tree. Then the child of Mariatta, only 2 weeks old, made answer: O thou ancient Wainamoinen, son of folly and injustice, senseless hero of the Northland, falsely hast thou rendered judgment. In thy years, for greater follies, greater sins and misdemeanors, thou wert not unjustly punished in thy former years of trouble, when thou gavest thine own brother for thy selfish life a ransom, thus to save thee from destruction. Then thou wert not sent to swampland to be murdered for thy follies. In thy former years of sorrow, when the beauteous Aino perished in the deep and boundless blue sea to escape thy persecutions, then thou wert not evil treated, wert not banished by thy people. Thereupon old Vuorokanas of the wilderness the ruler touched the child with holy water, gave the wonder babe his blessing, gave him rights of royal heirship, free to live and grow a hero, to become a mighty ruler, king and master of Kalevala. As the years passed, Wainamoinen recognized his waning powers, empty-handed, heavy-hearted, sang his farewell song to Northland, to the people of Wainola. Sang himself a boat of copper, beautiful his bark of magic. At the helm sat the magician, sat the ancient wisdom singer. Westward, westward sailed the hero, over the blue back of the waters, singing as he left Wainola, this his plaintive song and echo. Suns may rise and set in Suomi, rise and set for generations. When the North will learn my teachings, will recall my wisdom sayings, hungry for the true religion. Then will Suomi need my coming, watch for me at dawn of morning, that I may bring back the Sampo, bring anew the harp of joyance, bring again the golden moonlight, bring again the silver sunshine, peace and plenty to the Northland. Thus the ancient Wainamoinen in his copper-banded vessel left his tribe in Kalevala, sailing o'er the rolling billows, sailing through the azure vapors, sailing through the dusk of evening, sailing to the fiery sunset, to the higher landed regions, to the lower verge of heaven, quickly gained the far horizon, gained the purple-colored harbor. There his bark he firmly anchored, rested in his boat of copper, but he left his harp of magic, left his songs and wisdom sayings, to the lasting joy of Suomi. End of Rune 50. Recording by Kyle Raub. Epilogue of the Kalevala. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Kalevala, compiled by Elias LÖNNROT. Translated by John Martin Crawford. Epilogue. Now I end my measured singing, bid my weary tongue keep silence, leave my songs to other singers. Horses have their times of resting after many hours of labor. Even sickles will grow weary when they have been long at reaping. Waters seek a quiet haven after running long in rivers. Fire subsides and sinks in slumber at the dawning of the morning. Therefore I should end my singing as my song is growing weary, for the pleasure of the evening, for the joy of morn arising. Often I have heard it chanted, often heard the words repeated. Worthy cataracts and rivers never empty all their waters. Thus the wise and worthy singer sings not all his garnered wisdom. Better leave unsung some sayings than to sing them out of season. Thus beginning and thus ending do I roll up all my legends, roll them in a ball for safety, in my memory arrange them in their narrow place of resting, lest the songs escape unheeded while the lock is still unopened, while the teeth remain unparted, and the weary tongue is silent. Why should I sing other legends, chant them in the glen and forest, sing them on the hill and heather? Cold and still my golden mother lies beneath the meadow sleeping, hears my ancient songs no longer, cannot listen to my singing. Only will the forests listen, sacred birches, sighing pine trees, junipers endowed with kindness, alder trees that love to bear me, with the aspens and the willows. When my loving mother left me, young was I and low of stature, like the cuckoo of the forest, like the thrush upon the heather, like the lark I learned to twitter, learned to sing my simple measures, guided by a second mother, stern and cold without affection, drove me helpless from my chamber, to the wind side of her dwelling, to the north side of her cottage, where the chilling winds in mercy carried off the unprotected. As a lark I learned to wander, wander as a lonely songbird, through the forests and the fenlands, quietly o'er hill and heather, walked in pain about the marshes, learned the songs of winds and waters, learned the music of the ocean, and the echoes of the woodlands. Many men that live to murmur, many women live to censure, many speak with evil motives, many they with wretched voices curse me for my wretched singing, blame my tongue for speaking wisdom, call my ancient songs unworthy, blame the songs and curse the singer. Be not thus, my worthy people, blame me not for singing badly, unpretending as a minstrel. I have never had the teaching, never lived with ancient heroes, never learned the tongues of strangers, never claimed to know much wisdom. Others have had language masters, nature was my only teacher, woods and waters my instructors. Homeless, friendless, lone and needy, save in childhood with my mother, when beneath her painted rafters, where she twirled the flying spindle, by the workbench of my brother, by the window of my sister, in the cabin of my father, in my early days of childhood. Be this as it may, my people, this may point the way to others, to the singers better gifted, for the good of future ages, for the coming generations, for the rising folk of Suomi. End of Epilogue. Recording by Raub. End of the Kalevala. Compiled by Elias LÖNNROT. Translated by John Martin Crawford.